and Tea Time with Olive. I get so excited when I come to the show. Of course, one of the reason I get excited is because I know you beautiful people are watching me. But the second reason is that today I had my closest friends with me here, and I love these guys. They're great supporters. I have Salma Shams that Salma Shams is actually a good friend of mine. She actually directs me. And you heard her name before. She's the one that, the designer for Prima Jiva. So she's here with me today. And also I have Barmal Gran and our dearest sister, Dee Gran. She's here with me as well. So I'm going to start my show this week with some of the things that I see on social media. And I usually talk about some of the concerns, some of the goods, and some of the bads that I see in social media. But some of the things that I saw this week was actually disturbing for me. I could imagine what you guys go through, what you see from day to day. So for me, it starts with relationship. When you start a relationship, I mean, it could be a romantic relationship, it could be a friendship relationship, it could be a business relationship. There's different kind of relationship. But when you're giving that handshake, and when you're giving that promise that we're going to be friends, you're starting to hang out and you're starting to do some business together, then it becomes, you get close with that person. So when that person is talking with you about some of the concerns they have, or you have concerns, or if they have opinions about something, there's no reason to take it too personal, because you should give your friends that permission to actually tell you that, this is what you're doing. Hey, this is not, maybe you should change it. Maybe this is not good, or, whatever the situation might be at that point. But don't take it too personal. So what happened with the circle of our friends this week was, we're all adults. Something came up. We're just talking among each other. And one of us just took it too personal, just stood up and walked away from the whole situation. I'm like, wait a minute, we could discuss this. We could, friends talk, we argue, you have the, miscommunication, you correct it, but you don't walk away. But even though if you're doing that, that's fine. Later when you calm down, maybe you should, call that person, say, you know what, I didn't feel appreciated for what happened. Let's talk about it. But what I see on social media, wow, it's amazing. Right then, I think from the car, as soon as we walk away from this relationship, the first thing is they're gonna post something about, what is it? Oh, friends don't try to change friends. Friends accept friends for who they are. Correction. Friends will correct your mistakes. Tell you, you know what? You are wrong about this. Before everyone else talks about you, let me be the one to tell you that, you know what, you need to fix this. You need to change this. That's who friends are. And let me tell you this. This is a personal experience. So what happened, Monday was a really bad day for me. And we all have our days, right? Not every day is a good day. So my day was really bad day. It was a crazy day, let me say that. So in between closing a couple of applications and between having a phone conversation with another friend, one of my dearest friend that I love her to death, she sent me a text about a meeting that we had that night. So without even thinking, with no intention, I just sent this response. To be honest, I didn't even read it until the next day when I realized that, you know what, I think I hurt my friend's feelings, and it bothered me. So I called her. And we're talking, and she told me, she goes, listen, Olive, it's nothing personal. But when you're busy, we all have a lifestyle. If there's things going on in your life right there, respond and just say, I'm busy right now. I'll get back to you later. Instead of responding to that message, because you just don't, when it comes to messaging and texting and things like that, sometimes, you don't get your point across like you're supposed to, so you're gonna hurt people's feelings, and it's just not worth it. So I learned my lesson. So if this is my friend, I almost cried over the phone. I said, "Oh my God, I don't want to lose this friendship. I hurt your feeling and this and that." So my point is that when you're friends with people and your friends give you their opinion or try to correct you with something you've done, you shouldn't take it too personal. You should be open to listen to what they have to say instead of walking away, because you got to look at the bigger picture. This relationship that you had all these years or all these months, going out, doing businesses, all that kind of stuff, all of a sudden you're just walking away. This was all your friendship meant to you. It was such a short distance of friendship. So to me, that's not even friendship. So as I always say, I'm just saying, when it comes to social media, as soon as your feeling get hurt or something, you don't need to post it right away the next day. And it's very personal, whatever happens between you and your friends or your relationship. People don't need to know. You don't need to announce it to everybody that, this is what's going on. So I had to cover that because that really bothered me during the week, what I noticed. So that was one of the things. And the second thing that I want to bring it up, and I have shared it before on my post on social media, it's about cell phones. And I have to say, I've noticed Tony, my partner, when he's with me, he doesn't even look at his phone. He doesn't, his full attention is me. He just pay attention to me. And sometimes when you're sitting in front of somebody and you're talking with them, it could be business, it could be romantic, it could be anything. I think it's wrong. It's just not polite. While you're talking with this person, you got to respect people's time. If people giving you their time, they're sitting there with you. I'm sure they could be in a better places. They could be in the movies or anywhere, but they're there. They're sitting in front of you, and here you are. You're just checking your social media, and you're checking your emails, and you're texting. I think it's just wrong. So when you're sitting in front of whoever's sitting with you, it could be the love of your life, or it could be your friend, or it could be business, anything. Pay attention, be focused, see what they're talking about. If it's not interested to you, excuse yourself, say, "I'm sorry, I have to be somewhere else. This is the time I had, and I'll give you that." So those are the two things that was interesting to me that I wanted to talk about. So another thing was going back to social media. I did cover this last week. And one of the things that I encourage everyone on social media, if you're friends with people, and fan pages are very common nowadays. Everybody creates a fan page. If these people are your friends, honestly, if they are your friends and they have a fan page, you need to support them. You need to support, if it's a business, if it's a cause, if they send you a request to like their page, don't ignore it. Open it. There's a reason that person is on your page. If you're not going to open it and like it, what's the point of being friends with these people? So, I'm guilty of that myself too. Sometimes I have done it. I get so many requests, and sometimes I oversee some of them. But as much as I can, especially nowadays, as much as I can, I actually open the page, I study it, I see what is it about, is it something that if this person, is my friend on social media, then I'm going to go ahead and support them. I'm going to go ahead and like them. So this week I have sent a few requests for fan pages, and one of them is America Is Us, which is a gentleman, which you guys already know him, Barmal Gran, which is also my brother. He's going to be talking about, he's going to cover most of my politics on the show as he can. But tonight he's here because he is going to cover America Is Us. And I have sent a request. That if you could open the page and like the page, if you could do that, I appreciate that. And I've noticed that a lot of time people just don't take it serious, and they just oversee some things are important. Today actually, I just, there's a lot of people go live on social media, which I think that's really cool too. I mean, they just go live with whatever they believes. I mean, if you have the time, that's a new thing on social media. If you have the time, and if you could watch it, go ahead and watch it and respond to them, because I've mentioned it last week too. You notice that you get over 1,000 views. Somebody watched it, but guess what? There's like 5 likes. So all I'm saying, when you're supporting your friends and they're on your page, go ahead and show it to them. All right, we're gonna go to this music video, and then we're gonna come back with Barmal Guran.
Wish I knew someone who wanted me as I want you, someone to hold me and never let me go. Wish I could find
Hello, Barmal. Welcome to Tea Time with Olive.
Hello, Olive. Good afternoon, everybody.
Well, welcome to the show again. As I said it earlier, we have Barmal Grant here that he's not only going to cover some of the politics on my show, but today is because we have a very special cause that we have been working on it. I'm a part of it as well. We have been working on it for, I should say, 2 weeks, right? 2 or 3
Yeah,
weeks?
3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been going super good. So, Barmal, go ahead and introduce yourself one more to our audience.
Well, my name is Barmal Gran. I've known Olive for a long time, and so I'm glad I'm back here. And I'm just like, I'm an activist, so I believe in standing for justice, bigotry, against those kind of things. And so I'm glad that I can come back and share this platform that we've been working on for the last few days, which is America is Us, and actually it's hyphen between the two words. So and you can go ahead and we can talk about it in details.
Right. I mean, it's a very sensitive time. It is important for all of us, and a lot of people feel like, and sometimes it makes me upset. Some of my family members, I talk with them, I'm like, make sure you register to vote. They're like, oh, I don't want to get involved in politics and this and that. I'm like, you know what? If you don't vote, it's just the same as voting for the wrong person, right?
Well, yeah, because once you get your American citizenship, right, which is a big deal for most of us, whether you were born here or whether you come in as an immigrant, that's one of the most important components of a democracy. Is like when you go and actually the right to vote is a big deal.
Right.
And I think we should all respect that, and when the elections do come in, we need to participate and make sure that we go vote.
Right. Voting is important. Registration, it's not difficult. It's very easy. And once you go to any location, every address has its own location that you go register. It's just one piece of form, and the helpers there are so available there. They'll help you step by step, and they have it in different languages. I know,
Yes.
so that couldn't be an excuse. But anyways, going back to this cause that we have been working on it. One of the things that's impressing, what really inspired you to come up with this name?
Well, actually, as you know, a few days ago, I reached out to my friends and people that I know that are maybe have the conscience to do something about it. And when I saw the rally, the Trump rally in Chicago, and then you had people that came in and actually protested against against Trump. So that gave me, I said, we have to do something. And then I reached out to did a group message through Facebook, and I reached out to about maybe 15, 20 people. And then some people responded, some people didn't, which is fine. And then we had our first meeting, and then that's when we did our brainstorming. And then we came up with the name, America is Us. And which is like basically, the key is that we wanted to come up with a name that has that universal appeal, sort of like very inclusive. It's about all of us, So whether you were born here or whether you came in as an immigrant, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, we're all Americans. And so this is basically, we thought, like, let's come up with a name that could encompass all of that,
Right. And also, for us, really, this is me talking. Part of this name, it's not about, we're not going after any candidates or anything like that. Part of it is that we're just saying we are part of America. America is us and everybody. And when we're saying that, it's not really about any particular group. It's not about black. It's not about white. It's not about Muslim. It's not about Latina. It's not about any of that. We are, if we're here, if our children are here, if they've been going to school and we're citizens, then we have the same rights of anyone else. We just want to be treated right and be respected, right? I mean, before I go forward, I'm going to ask you, Barmal, I mean, you have, your mission statement of this topic. It's beautiful. I would love it if you could read it for our audience.
So yeah, what is this platform? So we're a political advocacy group. working towards unity, peace, and respect for all Americans.
Right.
Our mission statement is we are a grassroots movement working responsibly for national open-mindedness, standing for peace, unity, and respect for all Americans. So this is basically, as I said, we are a grassroots movement, but we also, it's our moral obligation to peacefully push back against racism, bigotry, homophobia, xenophobia, and ignorance, and because it was constitutionally given to us,
Right.
and we need to make sure that we adhere to it, and making sure that this is what the beauty of this country is, because it allows us to, when we see something that's not right, when we see something that's not, doesn't make sense, then we can all of us can come together and do something about it.
And also, for some of people think that, oh, I'm just, I don't want to be involved in politics or this or that. This is more than politics. This round, I think, is the most serious election round, I think, in the history of my time in United States. It's pretty serious. So you need to make the time. You need to get out. You need to register. And you need to get more involved.
Well, social activism can have many layers, and I think I shared this. It's about being reactive and proactive. What does that mean? Reactive means something happens and something you see that there's a problem or something that doesn't make sense, and then you react to it. And then proactive mean that actually you're gonna find ways to deal with it. What are you gonna do about it, right? That's being proactive. So the idea is, even though we're not going after a specific party, like try to, but as Americans, we want to hold our parties accountable, because at the end of the day, if they're going to become the president, or whoever becomes the president,
Right.
then they better have a message that's universal. So the problem with Trump is because he's sort of like his message is not American. It's sort of like almost unconstitutional with the things that he has said. So that being said, we reacted towards that, and now we're
Right.
being proactive by creating this platform, and we can go over the social media aspect of it and all the stuff that we have created,
Right.
a website and all that stuff. But that's basically what it is. So you basically, now we're being proactive. We want to do something about it and to deal with this problem.
Right. So one of the things that you want to know how to get more involved, you could get involved through us. If you're on my social media, it's you can find us that way. Or what is another good way, Barmal, they could contact us?
So we have a website first of all. So just like our name, www.america-is-us.org.
Okay.
And then we have same thing. We have a Facebook page with the same America -is-us on, so they can go find out and like our Facebook page, and that's when we're going to share information. We're also on Twitter with the same concept, with the same letters, same
Right.
format. And then our next goal is going to be perhaps, so we could talk about, we just had our second meeting, right? So
Right.
we're going to have our third meeting this coming week. And we're going to talk about, we've already talked about the structure, right? So we've already created the preliminary structure for the organization. And then secondly, we're thinking about registering this, which we are in the process of doing that.
Right.
And then third, our first real action is going to be that rally that we're thinking about, which either we're going to go join a group that's already thinking about. I think they're already in process of having a rally in Sacramento, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's on May 14 or something
May
like
14,
that.
yes.
So, and from what I know, it's gaining a lot of momentum. So we're in the process of reaching out to those folks and see how we can help them. And then perhaps maybe in a few weeks we might have a rally here in San Francisco, where we take the lead and have a peaceful rally.
So we're looking for all kind of support. Even if you can get involved yourself, we really like the students from colleges to get involved. We want, this is if it's their first time voting or registering, this is something good to volunteer. It's a great cause. Find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, find us. We're everywhere. So when you see America as us, then you could definitely find us and you could get involved. We have so many different things that we are interested. We are interested to hear your opinions. We're interested to, if you have feedbacks, if any way you could help us, we're open to
Well,
that.
we can look at, like, for instance, let's discuss our two current parties, right? The Republicans and Democrats, right?
Right.
The Republican Party, on one hand, it seems to be have no identity, because it seems like their identity has been hijacked, right? So because they've been sort of like hijacked by the right wing side of the party, okay? So sometimes when you think of the party of Roosevelt, and Theodore Roosevelt and Lincoln and Reagan, it seems like they have somehow deviated from what being a true conservative or Republican is.
Right.
So the folks that are actually running as candidates right now, they don't make sense because they seem to be very divisive. Their message is sort of like exclusive. It's not inclusive. And then you look at the Democratic side, and then you have Hillary and you have Bernie Sanders, And so now Bernie, on one hand, shows the progressive side
Right.
of America, because his movement is more about the progressive side, and that's why his appeal among the youth and young people, independent, is pretty good.
Right.
And I think, which is all good. And the key is we want to, like, eventually, if we're very successful with this
Right.
platform, we would like to have a voice where we could go reach out to the Democratic Party and say, hey, can you tell us how this thing about super delegates, because we don't agree with, and we could talk about that some other time, but the super delegates, and then also we can talk about the fact that, about the fact that the super delegates were created to actually undermine grassroots movement against the party.
Right.
So that's not right, because grassroots movements are great because that's where you get to hear great ideas, things that people say, hey, it's not working. Same thing on the Trump side, because there's a lot of course, most of those are blue-collar white Americans, but of course they're mad about their current situation. But unfortunately, they don't understand that they're part of a global economy,
Right.
So he wants to have a trade war with the Chinese. It's not going to work, because the Chinese are the ones that are actually buying our, every time we issue new money,
Right.
and then they're buying our bonds, right?
Well, you made a comment on the last show that you were here. You made a comment about when it comes to Donald Trump, how he's getting votes in certain states is really because those states has lost a lot of jobs. And what he's talking about, bringing all these manufacturer companies to U.S. and to these states, and that's where, of course, these
Well, it's
people
not that
go
easy,
for that,
It's,
right? So
yeah, I mean, the U.S. is part of a global economy, and actually, we only export 12% of our GDP is related to export. So we're not a big, huge export country. We
Right.
tend to import a lot.
Right.
But he goes after the Chinese, saying, "Hey, you devalue your currency." Well, we do it all the time, anyways. The Japanese have done it. The Europeans have done it.
Right.
It's nothing new, because the problem is the people that he's going that he's going after. And unfortunately, they don't understand economy, and
Right.
I mean that in a very sincere way. They don't. Most of them have never finished high school, or they never went to college,
Right.
and they don't understand that in a global economy, for instance, most of these folks go to Walmart, right?
Right. Right.
So where are these products all made in China, right? So they love to have those cheap products,
Right, right.
but then they say, okay, let's have a war. I mean, a trade war with China. It's not going to work.
Right.
And China.
Not if you're a Walmart shopper.
Well, I mean, most of the stuff. I mean, like Apple make
right.
their plant, for all the iPads on iPhones and everything is in China.
Right.
So and because it's the cost of labor is so cheap.
So much cheaper.
And
That's
so
what
there's
it is.
there's a reason for it, and the same thing about the wall, because his first estimate was he wanted to build a wall between Mexico and the U.S.
Right.
His estimate was 4 billion or 5 billion, then it went to 8 billion, and now actually people that have done studies, they said it will cost us anywhere between 25 to 30 billion dollars.
Right.
And then Mexico is not going to pay for it. They've already said, hey, we ain't going to pay for this. So I
Right.
don't know where he's getting his numbers.
getting his
It's like fuzzy
numbers.
math.
Fuzzy man.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, we, me and Dee, our sister, we were hanging out with our friends, and we're talking about, about this wall in Mexico, and originally they are from Mexico, so she made a comment, Nita, if you're watching my show, she made a comment. She goes, and he thinks that wall's going to stop him.
Yeah, because people can find ladders, right?
They're
30
going
feet
to find ways. They're going to go underground, whatever they could find. They're going to find ways.
And then on a serious note, and people should understand this, undocumented immigrants contribute about almost 11 billion into our economy.
Right.
Because those folks are living. They have to go grocery shopping, they have to buy
Right.
clothes, they have to pay rent,
Right.
So the
Right.
fact is, they're contributing towards our economy, right?
They sure are.
And
They
so
sure are.
people, and most of the jobs that they do, and we talked about it, are the jobs that most Americans will not even do it, right?
Right,
So
right.
you see, all of this stuff sounds great on in front of the camera, to
Right.
get people. And here's the thing, because people like Trump, they'll always find a scapegoat, for the anger.
Right.
Hitler did it against the poor Jews during that
Right,
time, and then he
right.
went after the Jews, and we know what happened, the
Right.
Holocaust and everything. But Trump is using the immigrants and Muslims, where he's saying, using them as a scapegoat, and
Yeah,
saying,
for
and
himself
they're
to get some,
responsible for
yep.
this because they're taking jobs away from Americans. But honestly, most of those things that the immigrants, those folks that work in the fields, are jobs that most Americans wouldn't do it. That's the truth.
And it is the truth. It is what it is. We just have to respect the fact that I'll be honest that, most of my friends that I have that, they are originally from Mexico, and they say the same thing, that a lot of these labor jobs that we started at and we continue doing it for generations. It's not something that, a lot of white folks would do.
Well, actually, in the last couple years or 2-3 years, I don't know exactly, but there's been actually outflow of undocumented immigrants or the Mexicans that have come in. They're actually leaving. They're going back to Mexico because of
Right.
after the recession and everything. So actually, when they're doing the calculation, more of those folks are actually leaving
Right.
the U.S. but going back to Mexico versus them coming back, because there was a time when you saw an influx of them coming.
Right.
But so it's not like it used to be. But it is what it is.
So,
but
I don't know much about the economy of Mexico. Maybe they're doing better. Maybe they have, so maybe those are could
Well,
be
it was very
reasons,
hard
but-
because after the recession that we had, I think a lot of those folks had a hard time finding jobs and everything.
Right.
So they just said they just went back to Mexico, and then of course maybe perhaps the cost of living. We know how the cost of living is for a state like California.
right.
Maybe they couldn't afford it anymore
Right,
with the kind
right.
of most of the jobs that they were probably working on the fields or whatever. Probably they were not getting paid that much,
Right, right,
So
right.
and most of them are very hardworking people,
Right, it sure is. So let's go back to Americas. So I know we have a meeting this coming Thursday.
Yes.
And we're going to basically discuss we're going to focus more on the date that we're picking to have the rally, or, we're possibly even support this other group that already started, and they're also having it on May 14, which is in Sacramento. Regardless of what we're going to do, it is a movement. If you see it on social media, I'm going to repeat it over and over and over. Get involved, contact us, let us know what you can do. We're open to anything. Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, well, actually, our message is that if you're a moderate Republican, you're an independent, you're a Democrat, liberal, whatever, we welcome you, because it's for everyone. Of course, we cannot bring everybody, because some people will not agree with our message, but we're basically about unity, peace, and respect for all Americans. So as long as you have that in
I
your
don't know
mindset.
who's going to be really against humanity,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Human
But
rights.
you never
really
know.
about
There's
it
some
is.
folks that hate
Yeah.
everybody.
And some people amaze me. Just on the way here, I was talking with one of my really good friends. I said, you know what? I tagged you with this page. Thank you so much for liking it, but I appreciate it if you share it on your page. And he said, you know what? I don't want to kind of get involved with politics. I'm so in closing, what do you have to say?
Well, basically, it's our civic duty to be involved in politics. So if you're an American citizen, you hold an American passport, and you're an American citizen, you have to vote. You have to participate.
You have to register
Thank
to vote. Thank you.
Good night.